know the story. I'm pretty sure we've all learned of the story. We've all heard the story a million times of what Jesus came to do for us on this earth, why he came to die. But do you know sometimes as we go on in life, we can forget these stories. We can forget the significance of why Jesus came to die for us. Sometimes we need to be reminded, which is a reason why I'm grateful. Every year we have the opportunity. Of course, this is something that should be done every day. But do you know that there are people that they need a reminder to remind themselves because of human nature? They need a reminder to remind themselves, why did Jesus come to die for them and the importance of him coming to die for them. Because the moment we begin to forget, the moment we begin to, okay, we forget that, we forget what he did for us on the cross, is the moment we begin to live a life of obscurity, meaning we begin to live a life less focused on him. Because understand, ultimately, the focus is Jesus completely. The focus is him alone. We live for him. Everything we do must include him. Everything we do um, revolves around him. There's nothing in this life that we should do that, does not ultimately come back to Jesus. So the moment we begin to forget, or it doesn't, there are people that hear the story, these stories, or the story of Jesus and him coming to earth, dying for us. There are people, these stories no longer move them. And that's a red flag. The moment what he came to do for you on the cross no longer moves you, you know your heart is headed towards a cold path. You know you're headed towards a path that if you don't turn back, you don't willingly choose, force yourself to turn around and remember, then I'm telling you, you're on the path of no return. I'm reminded of this passage. We're going to go to it right now. So, Matthew, read for and they have bread. The disciples to Jesus and said, where do you make preparations for you to eat the Passover? He replied, go into the city to a certain man and tell him, the teacher says, my appointed time is near. I am going to celebrate the Passover with my disciples at your house. So the disciples did as Jesus directed them and prepared the Passover. When evening came, Jesus was reclining at the table with the 12. And while they were eating, he said, truly I tell you, one of you will betray me. Okay, let's see if we continue further down to verse 26. So Matthew 26, verse 26. While they were eating, Jesus took bread, and when he had given thanks, he broke it and gave it to his disciples, saying, take and eat. This is my body. Then he took a cup, and when he had given thanks, he gave it to them, saying, drink from it, all of you. This is my blood of the covenant, which is poured out for many for the forgiveness of sins. I tell you, I will not drink from this fruit of the vine from now on until that day when I drink it new with you in my Father's kingdom. So there's another passage that says, drink and eat in remembrance of me. Okay, let's see if we can find that one. If anyone can find it too, that would be great. Okay, if you read it in 1 Corinthians 11:24, It says it. Okay, when he had given things, he broke it and said, "This is my body, which is for you. Do this in remembrance of me." Maybe I read it and I'm not seeing it. Okay. All right. So Jesus did this, and this is why we do the Lord's Supper, to remind ourselves, to remember. In nature, we forget easily. Someone can do so many great things for you every day. Okay. They do it years at a time. They do amazing things for us. The moment they do one thing wrong, we completely forget. It's like every good thing they've done goes out the window. That's how fragile human nature is. So, in light of this, Jesus knew of how frail our human nature was. So he said, "Take, eat of my body. Do this in remembrance of me." In remembrance, reminding yourself, this is the blood of the covenant. This is poured out for many for the forgiveness of sins. Every time you think you're about to forget, every time you're about to, okay, I'm going to forget. No, this is in remembrance of me. We take um from the bread. We take from the wine. We eat and drink so that we remember this is what he can get. You know, today I woke up and made up my mind. I just began to um study in deeper, or I was reading concerning this already, but today I decided to go even deeper in studying what Jesus had done for us. If you study in Matthew 26, 27, then you'll begin to, or if you use it, you study and also look at the historical context with everything that goes with these passages, you will go even deeper and you'll begin to understand a lot of things. So today I woke up and I'm like, okay, I'm just going to go even deeper and reading these scriptures. And I jotted down a few things that I read, a few things that stood out to me as I was reading. And I wasn't reading, just to have a sermon, but more so reading just to gain deeper understanding. Again, like I said, sometimes we hear these stories, we hear them over and over, and we become very cold to it. We become very immune to it. We become very familiar with it. And it has no more ability to pierce through our hearts. It no longer has ability to pierce through our minds because we've grown accustomed to it. So if we go to Matthew chapter 27 or 26, like I said, I was reading, doing a deeper study, and a few things stood out to me. On the night that Jesus passed, on the night that Jesus was to be crucified, or on the night he was supposed to be, actually, I'm sorry, not crucified, arrested. And that very night, Jesus, it's as if, he already did tell the disciples that this was going to happen. If we start in Matthew 26, starting with verse 5. So they were plotting on a way to arrest Jesus and to kill him. And one thing that they said, the chief priests and the elders, they said, we're not going to do it during the festival because that there may be a riot amongst the people, which already showed you or shows you that Jesus